Well, g'day fishers, welcome back to our weekly fishing report. I think this weekend's looking a little bit 50-50. Now, when I mean that 50-50 with the weather, that low pressure system, looking at a few different models and predictions, it looks like hopefully that low pressure will form up to the south of us. I think the Central Coast and Sydney are going to cop it, and we'll be to the north of it, which means we'll cop a little bit of it, but not as much as those guys down there. So looking at the forecast, Saturday looks okay. I think it's just going to be showery, but at least the wind's down, and then those southwesters will pick up, obviously, if that low forms to the south of us. So we might just scrape in one day of the weekend, and then Sunday looks a bit iffy, and then leading into early next week looks a bit iffy. So good start to the beginning of the school holidays, but you can always fish inside the bay. There's plenty of fish inside the bay this week as well. Plenty of luderick along the breakwall, both breakwalls actually being the Anchorage breakwall and Nelson Bay breakwall. We can't keep enough weed flies in stock, so plenty of luddos down on both of those breakwalls there if you're keen on that sort of thing. The bream have really started to fire up, especially the back half of the bay up around Soldiers Point and the oyster racks and the rock walls all through there. Spoke to Dono during the week. He cleaned up on the bream. He said he had a 30 fish session on the soft plastic, so they're really nice fish. Let all of them go. Said fish up to 40 centimetres, so some really nice bream hunting around. You'd expect that this time of year. They're on their spawn run, so they're congregating around those rock walls, which is really good to see. I didn't think it was going to happen this year. It was a little bit late, but definitely plenty of bream around at the moment. They're starting to get a few along the Nelson Bay breakwall, but it's mainly luderick at the moment. And you'll see most anglers trying to catch those luddos at this point in time. There's been a few luderick down off Little Beach Wharf as well, so that's the what they call the wheelchair wharf, and a few out on Shoal Bay as well. So that'll be the pick at the moment. Few trevally inside the marina there as well, so some young kids on their school holiday started to get into the trevally. Got sent a picture of 150 centimetres, an absolute beauty. Also, there's quite a lot of tailor around inside the bay. There's plenty of whitebait in the bay, some good tailor coming off Shoal Bay Wharf. So a few guys have been throwing around a few of the Jackson muscle shots in those 90 mils and getting some really nice tailor, up to a kilo, which are good bay tailor. The Mac tuners are still out in the bay there. John actually caught a really nice fish on his fly rod, christened his new fly reel, so absolute corker of a fish. It looked like it was up around that 7 kilo mark, so an absolute fatty of a Mac tuna, so well done there. Like I said last week, they're feeding on really small whitebait, so those little armory anchovies that we sell, those 5 to 11 grams, are spot on for those Mac tunas, and there's a few bonito mixed in as well, so if you're keen on doing that, they'll only eat those smaller whitebait. Don't bother trying to cast stick baits or anything like that into them. You're just going to spook them, and don't troll through them, because again, you'll spook them, so just cast towards them and have a bit of fun on those Mac tuna. So bay's fishing pretty well at the moment. It's been the odd mulloway around as well. We're coming up to the new moon, so it'd be worth a shot on those bigger tides at a couple of winter mulloway. They'll still feed through the winter. They'll still be in the bay. You just don't get those bigger models, but you do get plenty of them. So give the mulloway a bit of a crack, I reckon, over this weekend on the new moon for sure. So that's a nutshell in the bay at the moment. Now, the beaches and the rocks, John's been sending me some photos of some absolute cracking tail he's been catching off the beaches. He's been spitting up some really nice tailor, up to 70 centimetres, which is probably around that 2.5 kilos, which Port Stephens not renowned for big tailor, but they're certainly on the beaches this year, that's for sure. So worth a shot chasing the tailor. I think tomorrow being Saturday will be worth a go before that swell starts to pick up. And these overcast conditions, tailor absolutely love them. So up Fingal Beach, up to the Spit, Samurai 1 Mile, all fishing really well for tailor. Likewise off the rocks, so Barry Park at the end of southern end of Fingal fish really well for tailor just on dark or sunrise. So too 1 Mile Point, and also down off Boat Harbour there as well, that northern side of Boat Harbour or even the southern side. So fish really well, and Fisherman's Bay is also a good one for big tailor as well. So plenty of tail around off the rocks. There's still a couple of long tail hanging around. That water's hovering about 20 degrees. We'll see what this big swell does, whether it knocks the temperature about a bit. We'll see what happens there. Also worth a snapper fish off the rocks as well. There's plenty of reds around on the inshore reefs, and they'll be off the washes as well. So definitely worth a shot on the snapper this weekend. And obviously drummer, plenty of drummer around, plenty of luderick and plenty of bream in the washes. So those bread and butter species on fire at the moment, which you'd expect at this time of year. So definitely worth a shot on the rocks this week. Also, what else is happening? So offshore, some really nice fish offshore at the moment. Actually, young Jay that's actually started working for us, a young staff member. He took off out to Allmark with Mick, and actually got some really nice kingies out that way. So they're using new cast jigs. so which we have in stock at the moment, those 250 grammers. We've got some really nice kings up to about 8 or 9 kilos. So plenty of kings out on Allmark out wide there, and it'd be worth a shot for a few snapper, bar cod, and also you get John Dory out there this time of year, so worth dropping down some small yakkers for a John Dory, that's for sure. On the inshore reef, some really nice snapper around. Young Jack got an absolute beauty the other day, 8.3 kilos on the soft plastics. Some really nice snapper turning up in the shallows, and it'll only get better from now on in, especially after our east coast low. After it gets a big stir up, those big reds will be right in the shallows there. Plenty around down off Boat Harbour, north to Little Rocky and Big Rocky, all through there in the shallows. And obviously the obvious spots around the Sisters, Cod Rock, be worth a shot at the moment as well for a few reds. Trag is still there. Water, like I said, water's 20 degrees. Plenty of trag up on the Big Gibber. Wide of the 21, wide of the V. It'd be also worth having a look off Boulder Bay wide or even down off Yarralla there. So the water's pretty good all the way through there for a few trag. So that's about it in a nutshell this week. Weather's not looking good. I think if you've got that opportunity, maybe look at the Saturday, put the wet weather gear on and brave it, because I think come Sunday it's going to be sort of a maybe a tackle weekend on the Sunday after that, leading to Monday, Tuesday. So, but looking at the long range forecast for next weekend, looking pretty good. Temperatures up around 21 degrees. So anyway, let's see what happens. Anyway, enjoy your weekend and we'll talk next week.